Okay, my dears, happy lunch bunch. Got a nice small but mighty group. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the music and get ready to go through our brief slideshow. Mostly we want to spend this time hearing from y'all and just what you're looking for in 2021. It's been a rough year for everyone, and I think I can speak for myself and Yahida saying that we definitely want this group to get stronger and keep going, and we have some ideas for that. That range from just building up some small offerings to getting some new leadership, and even starting to build on those bigger dreams that were kind of seated in the online conference this past year that really just brought a whole bunch of new possibilities. All right, let those ideas start cooking. I'm gonna take our music off. Okay, so welcome to the first SLP Town Hall meeting, so serving Latinx populations. We are still housed within the awesome PCBH SIG, and that will not change this coming year. We're going to keep that consistency. And PCBH has been very kind and a very good home to us. And Yahida, who's my counterpart, is the next co-chair of PCBH, so we'll still have that support there, as well as other members like Miss Tanya. I think I saw you. And okay, so here we go. All right, so today's agenda, one of the biggest things Yahida and I talked about was we want to get to, and we talked to Neftali and Liana and Marta as well, that we want to get 2 new co-leaders in training. So I kind of started this, Yahida came along, Dr. Aguilar, Clarissa, and everyone has been so wonderful. And I think now it's a great time to, like the other SIGs do, they have that model where you have your 2 co-chairs, and then, you bring in someone new to take over. And while we're still going to be a working group, it would be great to have 2 new people come on board this year, and we'll all work together. And then for the 2022 year, then y'all would take over. And of course, we'd still be involved, just like we all are in CFHA things where we're all a team, but it would be great to have some new blood and just new ideas coming in. So if you are interested in applying, I have another slide for that, and I'll send these out too. And I'll just kind of model on like SIG leadership applications. So some of the ideas we've been thinking about, I'd really like to start a podcast that would be something that would be a little different formatting than the usual webinar. We could have people from CFHA who work with Latino populations just talk about themselves, not just their work, but their experiences. So kind of like a testimonio. And, just to get a little more understanding of their experiences and how they got those jobs and how they navigate Spanish within the PCBH model. Maybe a speaker series, and then the big dream that Neftali brought up at the online conference was to have regional trainings. So I've been putting that bug in people's ears for a while now. Okay, and new leadership. So you can nominate someone or nominate yourself. Go ahead and email it to me with a personal statement, CV, headshot by January 1st. How long is my commitment? So entire 2021-2022 calendar year would start February 1st. And then you would just meet at the same time that the PCBH leadership meets, because they're our home. But I'll email this out so you have it, so you don't have to scramble to write this down. And we also just really want to activate our membership. We know we've got so many great peeps out there. So if you love to write, make podcasts, maintain newsletter, make webinars, do research trainings, or you just want to help in a small but meaningful way, like let's do it. And we're going to support you. There's me and Yahida and PCBH. All right, so looking towards the future, what do you want? So open up your mics. I'm gonna shift to another screen so I can write down all your good stuff. All right, here we go. I know this is a shy time. Don't be shy. It's lunch. We love you. No bad ideas. All right, Cassie, what do y'all think of a podcast? Yay, nay? Would you be on my podcast? I see smiles.
Hi, Norma, this is Clarita.
Hi.
Hi. I think, I really love the idea of a podcast, and correct me if I'm wrong. I remember that one of the first ways this came up was talking about Como Se Dice, right?
Yes.
Like Como Se Dice podcast. Is that something that's still viable?
Yes, I actually got an email from Naftali today about the different formats that we could use. So I'll get with him by the end of the week because my brain is just kind of scrambly. For those of you who don't know, my mama and I got COVID. So we're just kind of like, hey, working from home, trying to keep it together. So, but yeah, no, definitely it is a possibility. So we got our podcast. Can I type in here? Podcast. Thank you.
I definitely think that would be a great contribution for the network or for this team, and something that could be helpful. I wish I could say I'm enough of a Spanish language expert to, I would really need the help more than than that could provide the expertise. But I know we've got some people on here that could probably really help us with the Como Se Dice translation.
Yeah, thank you. So that's another thing. Is anyone really interested in like translation? We have our database and we would love for someone to kind of curate it and just tend to it like a garden. Make sure that it's growing and happy if anyone is interested in that.
Hi, Norma. This is Yahaira. Everybody, hi. Nice to see some of you. I see a few names of folks who I recognize, so thanks for hopping on. I think one way that we could kind of think about how to have this conversation is when you maybe first heard about SLP, or when you just first heard about this town hall. I guess mainly when you first heard about SLP and thought, well, this might be an interesting group to join. Were there any reasons why you felt like this group would be a good one to join? Were there any gaps in your, whether it's training if you're a student or some kind of trainee, or any areas that you were hoping you could further beef up if you're a practicing clinician? That you were hoping you might be able to get from participating in this group? I think those are the kind of things we'd like to know. Like, what are your needs? What gaps do you see SLP filling in for you, if any, and how can SLP help you in the provision of care to your patients, and within PCBH, or not even within PCBH, because I know that not everybody here follows the PCBH model necessarily. But I think maybe just starting to think about what are some of those things that you see SLP maybe helping you out with.
Do you need to unmute Summer?
My name is Summer. I didn't want to do a video, but I guess I'm doing one. I just wanted to say that I'm new to this group, really, and Norma was a wonderful mentor for a period of time at my clinic. So I'm really just looking for, just kind of like someone else mentioned, resources for, Spanish speaking population. Translations is a huge thing. So I really do feel like if there are other resources out there where, as far as like, besides the translations, but just maybe good services to offer for them, I'm really just open to anything. Really, networking is like a huge thing that I'm just trying to gain access to.
I like that you bring up the issue of networking, Summer, because I think sometimes when I think although there are many of us out there, it's sometimes hard for us to come by each other. And so this idea of networking and having other colleagues who, like you, have the same level of passion when it comes to working with Latinx and populations, whether it's Spanish speaking or English speaking. I think I think it's refreshing for me and exciting for me when I come across folks like this. So I really like that point of networking, and maybe thinking about how SLP might be able to facilitate some of those networking opportunities would be great. Thanks for that suggestion.
Sure thing. Thank you.
I'm curious, along the lines of networking, I wonder if even kind of thinking about some kind of like mentorship connections might be useful.
Yes, that would be amazing. Like a big brother, big sister kind of thing, where you just have like access to someone. I know their information, that if you're having like a session and you're just a little, worried. I mean, I have Norma sometimes that I'll send a text to, but it's nice to have multiple people as that resource. So that way, see who can, kind of like a group text or something. So it's just faster, and maybe someone can just reach out to you if maybe that person that you use is just, you're overusing them or they're not available at that time. But that would be amazing.
So I'll add that the database we have, which is through Basecamp, it does have a chat feature. So that's something that maybe we could use more of for questions like that too, Summer, to connect. But yes, and the email listserv is really great for helping as well. But I think it would be great to have that mentorship aspect. Yay.
Can you send that out? Because I don't know, in the email that you send out, I guess with the resource that you said you're going to send earlier, because I don't think I have access to that.
Sure, I can invite you to it.
Thank you.
And if anyone on this call is in SLP and they're not, they don't have access to the database, just send me a private message and I'll add you today.
I can share with you all one thing that I haven't spoken about with the group, but I think would be one of my needs, I think, would be having some kind of like updated, some info on like the most recent literature, some kind of like a recent literature digest. I see some heads nodding, so I'm guessing that that's something other folks might be interested in. Like just, I think CFHA does something similar to this, or maybe it's CFHA does something similar to this, where they provide like some kind of like annotated bibliography of some of the most recent literature out there. And that might be a cool option for some of us who kind of want to stay up to date with the literature, some who are still involved in research, ways to minimize that research to practice gap that exists. So that might be one cool option, I think.
Hi, Maria.
Hello, this is Tanya. I'm sorry to jump in. I'm trying to munch and eat my lunch as we go. Just wanted to jump in and say, I'm not sure if this is covered yet, but one of the things that I think is really appealing to me about this group is just having the collegiality and having kind of a shared framework for other people working with Latinx populations. And also, I think this is mentioned, but just different training opportunities too. I certainly don't feel like my Spanish is that good anymore. And besides the resources, just other ways to kind of connect with this group.
Hola a todos. Sorry, I was trying to get away from my son who's doing homeschooling and I couldn't find a quiet space in my house to do unmuting. But I really liked what you were mentioning about the mentorship. I think that's one of the ways that I have found that it's been kind of easiest to build a network, starting dyadically and then kind of moving from there. So I really like that idea. I think both the mentor and the mentee get a lot out of that. So I don't know how we would distinguish who is who, but it is a really nice way to start to build community. I also love the idea of the research literature digest. I know that, yeah, peer mentorship. Yeah, exactly. I really like that idea of having a research literature digest. I think those of us that try to keep up with the literature could probably contribute to that and just kind of provide, highlights or articles that might be worth spending the time to read or providing Cliff Notes versions of them and passing them along. I think that would be a really nice way to stay up on everything. So I really enjoyed those suggestions and all the other ones. I really like the podcast idea too. If I ever have time to listen to podcasts again in my life, I would love to listen to it.
Or be on a podcast.
Sure. Sure. I would never be able to listen to it because my children would never allow me that time, but
Well, thank you. I love all your suggestions.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm so late. I assume you are doing a list of what we want to be discussing or addressing in the group. Is that what this is?
Yeah, so people are just throwing out suggestions, needs, and wants for SLP. So how could SLP help with your needs?
Well, I very much would like the voice of the families to be represented. I think, with these equity conversations and I don't know, I think that's something that is kind of missing in other forums for the organization in a way that I would like to, so maybe we can be it.
Can you talk a bit more about that? What would that look like?
I guess knowing how do they feel our work and how do they see our roles and efforts, how would they like to be portrayed. Sometimes I struggle with when something is when another culture is brought into light to other people, it has a kind of a folkloric flavor that I don't like, as you know, like stereotyping the representation of the cultures versus the real people. And I don't know if it makes sense, but
I think I understand what you're saying, like, and that might be something interesting to tie into, like what Haida was talking about with research um, and like mentorship too, to see how other,
mhm.
other people are handling that crossover of, protocols and things normed on English speaking populations and used with different cultures and then kind of applied a little haphazardly with a new culture.
Sounds like at least what I'm hearing you say, Maria. Sorry, is it Maria Jesus or Maria?
It's Maria Jesus, but I like to be called Chus, and it's my fault that I didn't rename myself, because that's what the short version of Maria Jesus is.
Okay, great. So one thing thanks for letting us know. One thing that I guess I kind of hear you saying is to really emphasize Latino heterogeneity. And kind of continue to bring forth this idea that we're really not a monolith, and keep talking about that and talking about how we can continue to just recognize that. I mean, I think as a group, I think as SLP, I think, or any kind of group that comes together to address Latino issues or issues of any other kind of racial ethnic group, I think we run the risk of exactly what you're talking about, right? And so I think that's a great point, and something for us to be really mindful of as we continue to move forward, because I think anybody can fall to that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you for that great translation. Yeah, I also think even that we call ourselves Latinos is, completely crazy, because that's the title that we were given by others, and we are so different. I mean, I don't know, I only know Norma in this group and Clarissa, but I think we are, I mean, that doesn't say anything other than that we share a language, a common language. So that deconstructing the Latino group also is important to me.
Yeah, there's a great book called Harvest of Empire that I think if any of you have not read it, I think would be a great book to just kind of pick up and read, because it talks about like the different histories and kind of points to what Chus is talking about, talks about the different histories of the different Latin American national groups in the US, and how each has been received within the US, how that's kind of shaped how they live in the US. And that in itself is, I think, a very powerful thing to consider.
One thing I was, Haida, maybe you or Norma can speak to this. I think one of the things early on, I remember, where were we? Were we in Rochester? I can't even remember anymore. Was it Rochester? Houston?
Denver.
Oh, no.
Denver.
Denver? Was it Denver? Okay.
Yeah, Denver. It just feels so long ago.
I don't know. One of those places that we were. I know one of the things we talked about was wanting to make sure that whatever form this took, that it didn't kind of become something that was unsiloed, and it was like, oh, okay, well, now we have, you have this space over here, and you can do your thing over there, and then kind of the rest of the organization can continue to operate the way that it has been operating and wants to operate, that kind of thing. So I'm curious kind of how you all see that part of what kind of were some initial discussions about making sure that the topics and the priorities and the initiatives of this group inform kind of the whole organization and are infused throughout the different initiatives from the top to the bottom of the organization. I don't know if anybody can speak to that.
I think this is a great one for you, Yahida, because Yahida.
I was on mute when I was answering the question. Sorry.
Okay. I'm sure it was a great answer.
Sorry, you missed it. No, that's a great question, Florencia, because it is actually one of the things that we've also been talking about quite a bit. And I've talked about this with Clarissa quite a bit, and she can jump in if she has anything else to add. But I think one of our concerns is exactly what we talked about, right? That we become, I'm getting some feedback. I think there's somebody who's not muted and I'm getting feedback there. That's better. One of our concerns, similar to what you mentioned, is that we just become this other group that looks at diversity issues and great, good for them. They're doing their thing. And there's nothing else that happens beyond that. And so we've actually recently met with CFHA leadership to talk about how we can have more of a presence across all of CFHA. And so one of the initial things that we've kind of started doing is to reach out to the other SIGs to at least get somebody who's part of that SIG who can join SLP or participate in the SLP meetings and calls, so that we have a little bit more connection with these other groups as an initial step to do that. Because I think when it comes to Latino health and just any other kind of racial ethnic group, any other POC groups, it's important that they're represented across all the SIGs and across CFHA as a whole. So that's been one of the initial steps we've taken, recognizing that that's not it, but we're at least starting to see how we can have more of a presence across other groups in CFHA. Clarissa, do you want to add to that?
Sure. Thank you so much, Florencia, for bringing that to the forum. We've had so many kind of internal discussions that it gets hard to remember what we've said where and when. So yes, it is something that has stayed very close to our heart and something we've really, like Yahida said, talked with everybody. And I think we kind of just felt like that was the majority and overwhelming stance. So we kind of took that up to leadership. Obviously, if other people have different opinions about how that all should work, please let me know, or let us know. I just think it's important that we, infuse our representation across the larger organization, and the larger organization is all for it. So that's really exciting for us. And so that's kind of what's exciting about this meeting, is that we kind of get a sense of like, all right, what do y'all want to do? Like, let's go do it. Let's go change the world. We have some opportunity here. So if there are, all of you that are creative or kind of thinking about the way you might want to leave your footprint, this is a good time to kind of get your hat in the ring.
Yeah, and we've even just briefly talked about the possibility of maybe connecting with other similar groups and other associations, not just CFHA, to see what it is that they're doing and how we might be able to collaborate, perhaps to have maybe a bigger impact within CFHA and other organizations as well. If you have any ideas, Florencia, on like how else we could do that, we're super open to this. This is exactly what we're hoping people who are interested and involved in SLP can also help us out with, since I think we recognize we don't have all the answers, and I think there might be better approaches than what we've thought about as well. So anybody, just feel free to tell us how, or let us know and help us in making sure that we have that reach.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, you and Clarissa sharing what you've done so far. I mean, I think connecting with the other SIGs and making sure that there's kind of a bidirectional, there's bidirectional communication and involvement is a great step. I'll put my thinking hat on. I feel like I've been in a fog for the last 6 to 7 months, but I'll do some thinking. Nothing comes to mind, but if it does, I'll be sure to reach out.
If we're talking about APA connections as well, so I'm a member of the Society of Behavioral Medicine's Integrated Primary Care SIG. I'm the student liaison for that, and I think this would be a great opportunity. We do an education and consultation series where we have professionals in the integrated care field presenting about specific cases or research related to their area of interest, and we have experts in the care field coming in and offering feedback or sort of an educational webinar. And I think this would be a great opportunity to have the SIG involved in that, to talk about how we're supporting Spanish-speaking populations, particularly within the integrated care context. I think that would also be a really great opportunity to extend reach and get other people involved as well.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. What's your name?
Sorry, I'm Matt Henninger. I'm a counseling psych PhD student at the University of Buffalo.
Okay, great. I feel
I'll put my email in the chat for you.
Thank you. I was like, I think you're a new slip voice, so thank you.
Yes, I am.
Well, I think it looks like we've got a really great chunk of ideas here. Is there anything else anyone wanted to add? I know we've had some people on the call have been typing in, or have, I'm sure you're also like eating. And, but is there anything else anyone wanted to add?
This might be a silly question, but I don't know if other groups, other special interest group do this, but could we do like a vision and mission or something like that, that relates to what we are listing as our purpose or what we would like the purpose to be? Would that bring some, I don't know, something to the team, or is that something extra that would not contribute in any way?
We do have one, and let me go ahead and put it up there. Give me 1 sec.
But that also brings up one thing that's dear to my heart, as y'all have probably noticed, and it's just, making things look more creative and prettier. So I think it would be nice to jazz up our website so things that we do create don't get too lost, like the mission, like videos and posts and things. So that's something I'm gonna add that for my need to have a more aesthetically pleasing webpage.
So it's a group purpose that we've posted. I've gone ahead and added it to the chat. And this is also not something that's set in stone. I think as we continue to develop, I think it's something that can also be modified to make sure that we better meet the needs of BHCs.
Thank you for sharing that. Can I ask a question in connection to the purpose and the comments that I was hearing about the participation in other SIGs? Would it be a good idea to add a fourth goal, purpose, or mission to, I don't know how to say this. Is my understanding that by attending other SIGs, we want to atravesar the other groups with the diversity and equity and all that, that we are different in the way that we don't want to operate as a silo only for the benefit of our community, but also to infuse the others with that diversity. So I don't know how to put it nicely.
This is just a rough draft, but I'm gonna put it down.
Because with that representation, we would be already adding diversity to the other groups and, you know, generating the conversation about inclusion, equity.
Almost sounds like that's our vision, right? To get to the point where including or accounting for the kind of issues that we talk about in SLP are just part of normal health care for us, and that it just becomes second nature to all of us, rather than have to like be that person who's like, well, wait a minute, did you account for this, or did you look into this? And it's just what we do.
Agreed. I like that.
I wonder if I know Andre, I'm putting you on the spot if you're still on the call. But in terms of the working, there is the diversity and inclusion working group, is there not, or has that been morphed into something else?
Yeah, we have the Just Medicine team, which I think I don't think it's going to function. It's going to function as a SIG, but more so a committee, like similar to the research and evaluation committee. So yeah, we're definitely still active on that.
But I wonder if there might be some opportunities there as well, to, you know, I know there's crossover in terms of membership, but, you know, to be able to not necessarily duplicate effort, but, you know, hopefully build upon and work collaboratively to move forward similar initiatives.
Yeah, I think that would be really great. And another thing that comes to mind too that I wanted to bring up was not missing out on intersectional experiences within this group when we're thinking of the Latinx population. I think that's another way that Just Medicine and SLP could collaborate. So making sure we're also thinking about LGBTQ Latinx populations and Spanish-speaking populations and other ways of that different identities intersect. I think that'd be a great way to collaborate too, as well as what you already mentioned, Florencia. So I can definitely bring that up in our next meeting.
These are all great podcast topics, by the way. I'll be emailing y'all. All right, my dears, we're almost at 10 minutes out. Anything else? I don't want to take too much of your lunchtime if, you know, we're kind of talked out. So safe space, any concerns, any big questions, any exciting things or excitements? I'm definitely excited. I think so much has been revealed this year, and I like to think that, you know, us coming into being as this group is just helping, you know, CFHA grow more and more, and we're going to help it get even bigger and better, and I'm really excited for that. So I guess I'll shift over to this part. So just summarizing, apply if you want to become a co-facilitator, and you would be working with all of us this year too, because we are a team, and we want, you know, just kind of like in the spirit of, I guess, being a big, you know, family as well, just taking care of each other, making things better. And then, yeah, you can email me and Yahaida with ideas if something really spoke to you. Like you're like, yeah, I would like to write a blog post, or I'm totally down with databases and I want to keep it alive. You know, just let us know. Or if there's just something small you want to help out one time, that's great too. Basically, we just want to get SLP strong enough that it keeps going, and you know, this keeps making a difference. So any final thoughts? I'll take your silence as satisfied. And thank you all so much for coming out. Oh, I see a chat. Oh, chats. Chats. Yes, thank you. Yes, so I will be in touch with y'all individually, me and Yahaida, to ask you about some of the things that you need and see if you want to be directly involved with that. I also poke people for potential podcasts. And if you yourself don't want to do it, but you're like, my friend would be great, I'm happy to email them and be like, hey. And oh, a good meeting. That's a great question, Juice. If you know, I think, let me get back to you on that, because we don't seem to have, I don't think we've decided on a monthly meeting, but that would be great for networking. And I know that's something that Yahaida is really excited about. So we'll get back to you on that. And yeah, anything you want to share, Yahaida or Dr. Aguilar, before we go?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your investment and for your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, y'all have a beautiful Monday. I can't believe it's halfway through December already, and 2021 is like around the corner. Hopefully it will be kinder, and at least we'll have each other, you know, continuing the work. And I wish you all to be safe, happy, healthy, enjoy your holidays, and keep an eye out on your email, okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Adios. Ciao.
Ciao, tschüss.